Imagine this. The national championship. The clock is ticking down. The crowd is a roaring sea of tension and hope. And on the sideline, sitting on the bench, is the team's star player, Jeremiah J.J. Jones. He's not injured. He's not in foul trouble. He's been benched by his own coach. Right before the biggest game of his life, and J.J., he's black. The coach is white. The media storm that erupted was instantaneous. Headlines screamed across every sports network. Was this about strategy, or was it something more sinister? Let's rewind. The Northwood Ravens, led by the fiery and brilliant J.J. Jones, had defied all expectations. They weren't a powerhouse team stacked with five-star recruits. They were a team of underdogs, grinders, kids from tough neighborhoods who played with a chip on their shoulder, and J.J. was their heart and soul. Averaging 25 points a game, his electrifying dunks and impossible last-second shots were the stuff of legend. He wasn't just a player. He was an inspiration, a symbol that where you come from doesn't define where you're going. Their coach, Coach Miller, was an old-school disciplinarian, a man of few words, known for his tough love and unwavering principles. He and J.J. had a complicated relationship. They were like two magnets, sometimes attracting, sometimes repelling. Miller saw J.J.'s raw talent but worried about his occasional hot-headedness on the court. J.J. respected Miller's basketball mind but felt the coach never truly understood him, never truly trusted him. Despite their friction, they had one common goal: winning. And together, they were a force to be reckoned with, taking the Ravens all the way to the final dance. The opponent was the three-time defending champion, the Arlington Knights, a team that looked like they were built in a lab, a machine of perfect plays and flawless execution. On paper, the Ravens stood no chance. But basketball isn't played on paper. It's played with heart, and the Ravens had heart in spades. The day of the championship, the world was watching. The pre-game chatter was all about the David versus Goliath matchup. Can J.J. Jones pull off one more miracle? Then, the bombshell dropped. An hour before tip-off, the starting lineup was announced. J.J.'s name wasn't on it. The arena fell silent for a moment, then erupted in confused whispers. The cameras immediately panned to J.J., sitting at the end of the bench, staring blankly at the polished court, his warm-up jersey still on. What happened? The story that trickled out was that J.J. had broken a team rule. He'd missed curfew the night before. Not by much, just 20 minutes. He was out getting food with his mom and little sister, who had flown across the country to see him play for the first time. He lost track of time. It was a minor infraction, something that other coaches might have let slide, especially before a championship game. But not Coach Miller. His rule was his rule, no exceptions. The game started, and it was brutal. Without J.J.'s offensive firepower, the Ravens struggled. They were playing with grit, but the Knights were a well-oiled machine, methodically picking them apart. By halftime, the Ravens were down by 20 points. The commentators were already writing their eulogy. They criticized Miller's decision as stubborn, arrogant, even self-destructive. Social media exploded with accusations of racism, that Miller was using a minor infraction to sabotage his own black star player on the biggest stage. The pressure was immense. In the locker room at halftime, the mood was funereal. Heads were down. Some players were crying. Coach Miller walked in, his face like stone. He didn't yell. He didn't scream. He just looked at his team, and he walked over to J.J. He didn't say a word about the curfew. He just looked him in the eyes and said, "The first half was your punishment. The second half is your chance to lead. Are you ready?" J.J. looked up, a fire igniting in his eyes. He nodded. That's all it took. The second half began with J.J. back on the court. The crowd went wild. But the 20-point deficit was still a mountain to climb. The Knights were prepared. They double-teamed J.J., throwing their best defenders at him. The first few minutes, it seemed like nothing had changed. The lead was still insurmountable. The clock was their enemy. But something had shifted. J.J. wasn't just trying to score anymore. He was a general on the court. He drew defenders to him, then fired a perfect pass to a wide-open teammate for an easy three. He dove for a loose ball, igniting a fast break. He wasn't just playing with talent. He was playing with a desperate, focused rage. He was making everyone around him better. Slowly, painstakingly, the lead started to shrink. 20 points became 15.15, became 10. With every basket, the belief in the arena grew stronger. The impossible was starting to feel possible. Now we come to it. The last 5 minutes. The Ravens are down by 8. The air is so thick with tension, you could cut it with a knife. Every possession feels like life or death. JJ drives to the basket, gets fouled, and sinks both free throws, down by 6. The Ravens' defense, inspired by their leader, forces a turnover. The ball is back in JJ's hands. He pulls up from way beyond the arc. Swish. The crowd is deafening. Down by 3. The Knights rattled for the first time all game. Call a timeout. Their coach is screaming at them. They look stunned. They can't believe this is happening. The game resumes. The Knights run a play for their star center, but the Ravens' defense is a swarm. They force a tough, contested shot. It misses. Rebound Ravens. 1 minute left, down by 3. JJ has the ball. He's being hounded by 2 defenders. He uses a screen, gets a sliver of space, and launches another three-pointer. The ball hangs in the air for what feels like an eternity. It hits the back of the rim, bounces up, and falls through the net. The game is tied. The arena is shaking. 30 seconds left. The Knights have the ball, a chance to win it all. They run the clock down, isolate their best shooter. He takes the shot with 3 seconds left. It looks good. It rims out. The Ravens center grabs the most important rebound of his life. He immediately passes it to JJ. 2 seconds on the clock. JJ takes one dribble past half court. There's no time to think. Just lets it fly. A prayer from the logo. The buzzer sounds while the ball is still in the air. The entire world holds its breath. The ball arcs through the sky and goes straight through the hoop. Nothing but net. Pandemonium. Absolute chaos. The Ravens had won. They had done the impossible. Teammates mobbed JJ, lifting him onto their shoulders. In the middle of the celebration, JJ's eyes searched the sideline. He saw Coach Miller, standing alone, a single tear rolling down his cheek. Wasn't looking at the scoreboard, was looking at JJ. Jay got down and pushed his way through the crowd. He walked straight to his coach. The camera zoomed in, waiting for a confrontation, and I told you so. But that's not what happened. JJ wrapped his arms around Coach Miller in a huge hug. And in that moment, all the tension, all the misunderstanding, all the headlines melted away. It wasn't about black or white. It wasn't about rules or rebellion. It was about respect. It was about a coach who believed in discipline and a player who proved he had the heart of a champion. Coach Miller had benched his star, not to punish him, but to teach him, to show him that no single player, not even him, was bigger than the team, bigger than the principles they stood for. He risked the championship to forge a leader. And in those last 5 minutes, JJ wasn't just a star player. He was a leader. He had learned the lesson. He had earned the victory. That night, the story wasn't about a controversial benching. It was about the power of tough love. It was about a coach's unshakable faith and a player's incredible redemption. It was a story that rewrote history, proving that sometimes the hardest path is the one that leads to the greatest glory. And that's a lesson that goes far beyond the basketball court. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more moments that define the game. See you next time.